everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to have you here today as we wrap up our month with acrylic paints. It's going to be a ton of fun. If you saw Alta News release earlier this month, earlier in the week, I guess it was Monday, yeah, you saw the projects that we're going to be making today. They're very, very cool. Got lots of really great comments from them over on the blog, so thank you to everybody who stopped by for the blog hop there. But we're going to dive into them today. Hello to everybody out on the chat. So glad to see you all out there from all over the world. I'm so glad to have you here with me today as we craft it up on a Friday Eve. Whew, I need it. I need some crafty time. All right, so let's talk about some announcements. It's a busy day today. So we've got today's the last of our acrylic paints. Next week, we are moving into the Stamp Focus Challenge. So if you have not joined yet, join. It is an amazing time, and you are going to go from collector to creator. It doesn't matter if you're using the stamp that I'm using, or if you're pulling something from your stash. You're going to create some amazing things over the entire month. That is going to be really, really awesome. All right, so glad to see all sorts of people joining and talking about the Stamp Focus Challenge. Yeah, absolutely. If you're curious about the Stamp Focus Challenge, I'm going to pop a link in the chat here. Come over to our Q&A session that is going to be at 5:30 today on Zoom. I'm going to be answering questions to people who have already signed up. So we're going to take a look at the inner workings of the challenge platform and everything and how to access stuff. I'm going to answer your questions. And then if you haven't joined yet, but you have questions about the challenge, join the Q&A session and I will be there to answer your questions. If you can't join live, sign up for it anyway, because I will send you the replay and you can check out the replay. The last day to register for the challenge is on Tuesday, which is actually the very first day of the challenge. I want everyone to have the full experience, so you gotta register for the challenge by Tuesday. All right, guys. So that is all about our Stamp Focus Challenge. Join.bloomcrafters.com/challenge if you want to join. But if you want to join in on the Q&A session today, click on that link. And you should be able to access our Q&A session. Tracy says she hasn't received a Zoom link. Check your spam mail. It should have come from support@bloomcrafters.com. You might find it in your spam. You should start getting, you should get another message at 4:30 today, like an hour before it starts, and then maybe right before it starts with the links. So you should be good. If not, I'll be kind of watching out and trying to manage getting everyone in. I am a one-woman show right now, so hopefully everything goes off without a hitch. All right, so glad to see all sorts of folks joining in today. Yes. All right, so let's see. Next, of course, we've got Stamp Focus Challenge. In October, we're going to be doing a breast cancer fundraiser. I'm pairing this with a whole bunch of products I'm getting from scrapbook.com. So part of my affiliate sales from scrapbook.com will be going to breast cancer research to support Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. So keep that in mind. If you've got some orders to place with scrapbook.com, wait till October if you can, and put in a big order with my affiliate links so that way we can raise some money for breast cancer research. If you're not on my list, a lot of people I can see you're already on my list because you're a part of the challenge. But if you're not on my list and you're wondering what this is all about, do go to NicoleWattCreates.com/technique freebie, and that will get you, not only will it get you a freebie, which is like a sample of some of my technique library stuff, but it will also get you on my mailing list, which will keep you up to date with everything that I'm doing here on this channel and on the blog and with Bloom Crafters and all that good stuff. Let's see. That's about it. You can read everything else that we've got going on there. Of course, I do have my affiliate links listed down below. That'll take you to a visual version of the products that I'm using today. If you don't need the products, but you need to do some shopping, click on one of those links anyway, and it will take you to the right store, and I will get a small commission, always at no additional cost to you. It's an easy way to say thank you for what we do here, free for you every week. All right, if you don't need to do any crafty shopping, which, you know, sometimes that happens, do click on the tip jar link, and that will take you to PayPal. You can send me a tip for a cup of coffee. I saw one come in right before we started. So thank you very much, Nancy. I appreciate it. I don't have you up on my list because it just came in. But thank you so much. All right. And as always, thank you to all of my new subscribers. I'm so glad that you have joined me here on the channel. And I hope you enjoy all of the creative stuff that I'm providing you every week. All right. We talked about the Stamp Focus Challenge. If you guys have questions about the challenge as we're going along with today's projects, do pop them in the chat and I will try to grab them as we go along and answer them for you guys. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on the tabletop here. So these are the cards that we're going to make today. This one and this one, it's a twofer. And because we're going to do a little die cutting from this piece to get the pieces for this. And it's really, really neat. It features some new products from Altenew, the Dreamy Feathers layering die set. And this little trio here, this is the Sweet Sentiments. There is a die set, so it's got like the shadow dies and the top word dies, right? And then there's also hot foil. Now the hot foil ones I've already done. Because I did a whole bunch of them at the same time. I like to batch those up. So I won't be hot foiling today, but I will be using these guys for the sentiment. All right. Oh, if you haven't seen it yet, this is the stamp we're going to be using for the Stamp Focus Challenge, or at least the stamps that I'm going to be using. It's called Feed Your Soul by Picket Fence. And it is a lovely, lovely stamp set. If you have something similar to this, or even not similar to this, but got lots of open space to do some different techniques with it, then you certainly should join in on the challenge. All right. Down to the tabletop. All right, so last week with acrylic ink, or acrylic paints, I should say, and we're going to do this really funky background. So we're going to actually start with that because it needs some time to dry, and then we're going to move on with the rest of our projects here. And I'm just realizing there's a few things that I did not pull out that I should have, like sequins and foam sheets. That always happens. That's what the nice thing about working from my own studio is, that I know where everything is and I can grab it as we need it. So as you can see here, I've got some of these already done up. They are lovely with the foiling for sure. This is actually a new foil coming out from Altenew. It will be coming out in September, next month sometime. So that's a little sneaky peeky for you guys. Check that out. They've got a couple different colors coming out that you can use with any hot foil system. And of course, will match lovely with their hot foil plates. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Because I know we are all fans of Altenew here. All right, so first thing I'm starting with is a piece of watercolor cardstock. And I'm going to zoom in because I want you to see how yummy this paper is. Okay, so this is, come on, focus on me, work with me. There we go. You see how it's got all that great texture. This is rough watercolor paper from Winsor & Newton. It is fabulous with all that awesome texture on there. And I pulled this out because I wanted to have all that great texture on the background. All right, so we're going to play with that today. So this is a piece of, let me think about the size on this. 3 3/4. Yes, 3 3/4 by 5. See, I just used my grid and then I didn't have to think about it so much. And I'm going to start off on this with acrylic ink. And we've used this on and off throughout the month, the quinacridone magenta. Lovely, lovely color. And it's liquid. You can use this with calligraphy, all sorts of things. All right, and I'm just putting it out on a little mat here, or a little palette. So I don't have to worry about cleaning up my whole mat later in case it dries in place. And I've got water up here, and I've got a paintbrush that I use for acrylics only. I don't mix my paintbrushes with acrylics and watercolors, so that way I don't get any residue from one on the other. And then the acrylic brushes that I use are synthetic because they have a better spring to them. They don't, you know, like the watercolor ones that I use will hold a lot of water and they get a little droopy, which is fine for watercolor. But I want something really with a little bit more stiffness in spring, so I use these full synthetic ones for my acrylics. All right, and these are same company that I use for my watercolor ones, this Transin, and they're really great value. Found them on Amazon. I've not had any problem with shedding. The watercolor brushes that I've actually had for a couple of years now, and they're great. All right, so just a little bit of water to get this moving. You don't really need to put this in water, but I do. It's just a habit from all those years of just using watercolor. But this is what I love. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? This is such a beautiful color. I really do love it. One of our Bloom members says, you have a color palette. And I guess I kind of do. I don't necessarily go for like the bright colors. I go for more of the like a jewel tone. I like just a little bit of mutedness to my colors. But this quinacridone I've been in love with, so I've been using it a lot lately. Better than like a regular red, I think. All right, so I've got this little blob on here, right? And check out that. I mean, you can see that texture. It's so lovely. I'm going to spray it with my Distress sprayer just once. Because what I want to do is get like a little bit of a bloom on the edge there. So I just needed to get that started a little bit. And see how it's like starting to trail around? That's what I want. All right, so just a little bit. All right, not a whole lot. And that's all I need to do for this, but this needs to dry. And yes, I can hit this with my heat gun if I want. Oh, and you know what? So I do love this new heated craft tool that I just got. I mean, it's been around forever and a day from Ranger. It's new to me. But when I start it up now, it rattles a little bit until it gets hot. And I don't know if anyone else has a problem with that, but you may hear it at the beginning here. Can you hear how it's kind of rattling? Oh, there it is. It eventually goes away when it gets warm. So I have something that's a little loose in here that's not quite right. But I can go ahead and just dry this a little bit. Once it heats up, it stops. Kind of annoying though. So just kind of weird. It's a new development, and I've only had this for a couple weeks, so I'm not too excited about that. See there, it's gone now though. Isn't that weird? All right. So there we go. And another thing that I've been noticing is that you see how there's still like a little bit of shine on this one here. This is my original sample. And this one looks a little dull. I've noticed that as I use a heat tool to dry, especially on like watercolor paper, I end up getting a more of a matte finish. It's kind of interesting to me. So, all right. So if I want to, I could put a little bit more on here, but to be honest with you, I kind of wanted a lighter look to begin with when I did this the first time. So, you know, I could add a little bit more if I want to get like a little bit of a variegated look. And that might give me just a little bit of shine as well. All right, but that's all I want to do with that. And then can you see what else is going on there? There's some splatter. So let me go grab the paint that I need for that. So I'm going to use the turquoise blue. And that was way too much. I totally don't need that much. And I know this water is dirty. That's okay. So I just want to loosen this up with some water so that I can splatter. So this is the cool thing about using the acrylic paints, is that once this bottom layer is dry, whatever you put over the top of it is not necessarily going to blend in with it, right? It's not like working with watercolors. All right, so I have a little bit of spread here because some of that was still a little wet, but I've got those nice splatters up there that I was looking for. All right, and then I'm just going to put it. Oh, that was going to be a disaster. That was going to be a disaster, guys. Let's see if that works. Not going to work. It's open, but if I squeeze it, it's going to go everywhere. That's why I've got a big white. So I really just need the tiniest bit. Like, see, I really only needed that much to begin with. Again, I know I have dirty water here. Don't sweat it. It turned it pretty blue. What I was looking for, just a little bit of splatter. That is going to be just fine. All right, so splatter on there, let that dry. We're done with our painting. All right, then we need to do some fun assembly. All right. Okay, let's see what else is going on in here. Let's see, so some people have had the Ranger tool, but it doesn't make any sound, so I don't know why I got the rattly one. Go figure, I'm live streaming and I have a rattly Ranger tool. Let's see. Yeah, I need to find out about this Milwaukee heat tool that everyone's talking about, because I think maybe I'm not going to keep using that. Hard to say. All right, so this is going to dry. Take a look at this feather set. Got a whole bunch of pieces of cardstock here because we need to work off of a lot of it. All right, so I have a piece from a master sheet. So remember we did the master sheets a couple weeks ago, and today we're going to finish up using them. So I've got one of the feather layers, right? And there's 4 layers, and then there's these little center pieces here as well. Right, so as you can see, you've got a background piece and then a couple of layers, and then I got a top piece, and then these little guys right here. All right, so the trick is kind of knowing which ones you're going to use. So I just kind of arbitrarily picked one out of this background paper that I thought I was going to use, because I just wanted it for part of this feather. See how I've got part of it done up here. I've got the light blue background, and then I have gold as well. So basically what I'm going to start with is the light blue background is going to be the full piece. And then I have a piece of gold here that, oh, excuse me, is going to be this piece here. All right. And then on top of everything is going to go a white feather, a complete white feather. All right. And actually I need 2 of these. So we will grab 2 out of here, hopefully. If not, I can grab another piece of white cardstock, right? And then these guys here, I did some coloring, creative coloring with them, so we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so let's get these die cut. For this, I am definitely going to use, the shim for the detail pieces, because I definitely, you want it to cut out nice and solid. There's a lot of detail going on, so you want to make sure you get that cut through the first time. So this one will just be a single. That's pretty easy. All right. So beautiful, right? I mean, it's actually kind of just a nice little feathery background piece. You could use it on its own too, right? All right, so that's it for this one right here. And then these guys I need to cut out. Now, when I'm cutting out of my master sheet, I need to decide where I want it to be cut from, because I'm going to be using the same background piece for the second card, right? So something along those lines. This one is definitely worth taping down so that way it stays in the right place, right? Okay. So if you haven't seen the master sheets done up, you want to check out our live streams from earlier in the month, because that's when we made these and we've been using them all month long. All right. Oh, let me zoom out a little bit here. We're a little close. All right. So again, I've got my shim on this one because I want to make sure that it cuts out really well. And I'm going to flip it over just to make sure, and it does look like it cut out really well. All right, so this is the piece that I need. It's beautiful. Isn't that cool? So that's going to go right on top of this one. All right, like so. And that, okay. And then we need a gold piece. So the gold piece, we're just doing one of these as well. So we just need, this is gold foil cardstock, not the gold mirror cardstock. Just the right amount of shine for this project, I think. Right. So here we go. So this you can set aside. Here we go. So another little kind of fun cryptic. You could do this on its own. I mean, it doesn't have to even represent a feather. It's just kind of like an abstract piece. It's actually quite neat. All right. So those are all we need from that and that. And then we need the white detail pieces. So let's see if we can get two out of here. I don't know if that's possible, but we'll find out. Joan, you rarely emboss. That's, I may have to change that. I do like a good emboss, for sure. Let's see. That one I might put through twice. There's a lot of detail in here. I want to make sure that gets cut out really well. So let's put that through again. That looks better. All right, so this one has a lot of little pieces because this is the actual frame. Come on, there we go. All right, so it's got all this little piece. Now there are some pieces in here you're going to want to grab, like this whole little section here. You want to grab that. So we are going to use it. It helps to find that center. So see how this is, there's like this back piece, and then there's these little center ones. Right. Come on. It's always a risk doing a live stream with a super detailed die, because you just never know if it's gonna behave. This is the most detailed part though, so you can always recut it if you need to. Or me, I like to just take a little teeny tiny pair of snips and cut out the pieces that I don't need. So this one got messed up a little bit here. We will be able to save this though, I promise. when you glue it together, you'll be able to fit those pieces right back together. So that'll be okay. If you're not happy with it though, of course you can go ahead and die cut just another piece right in the center there to grab that center bit. So sometimes that's why I avoid layering dies like this, because sometimes there's like these detail parts that are just a pain in the butt. Other times I'm like, oh, that's so gorgeous, I can overcome that. All right. So there we go. Beautiful feather. We need to do one more though. All right, so we know it definitely needs to go through twice because we want to make sure that we're grabbing everything. And I am going to grab a separate piece. And I will mention, I am using 100-pound cardstock for this piece because I want it to be a little bit more rigid. So I am working with some heavier cardstock, which means that it is going to be a little more difficult to die cut. Just know that going into it, that if you're going to use heavier cardstock, you're going to have to add some extra shims so that way it'll cut through the whole thing. All right, so we'll pop that through twice. All right, there we go. Looks pretty good. So basically what I'm checking for before I pull it out is to see if the, it looks like the dye has popped through the paper. And in most cases it has, so I'm pretty confident that it's going to be okay. All right. And if not, there's always my little paper snips that will help snip any little pieces that need to come apart. So we've got just a few little pieces. It's just like the little tiniest bit sometimes that gets stuck, and it's worth just going at it with your paper snips to release it than to try to force it. Otherwise, sometimes your paper is gonna tear or whatever. So it's worth it to just take your time. See, it was just that little spot right there. But in the end, it's worth doing this layer, I think, with the heavier cardstock, because it's a little easier to work with once you've got it all done up. And then you're not trying to mess with it when it's got a bunch of glue on it, which I think is the worst part. All right. So there we go. Just a few little snips. That was totally worth the extra effort to do that. And then, oh, I've got the little centerpiece. No, I think what I'm going to do with this guy is run it through just one more time while it's still in there, and then I don't have to worry about, hopefully, messing with cutting it. Or who knows, maybe that one will help at all. Well, we know for sure this is real life crafting, because doesn't this happen to you guys sometimes? It is just the nature of the beast that sometimes it's just not as helpful as it could be. There, that one turned out great. All right. We're going to do some more die cutting in a little bit. And when we do the sentiments, but not right now. There we go. All right, so that is it. Oh, and that's actually not it for our little centerpieces. So with this here, I wanted to make some little center bits here, a little green one and then a little red one. So you see how detailed that is? It's the little tiniest, teeniest little piece. It is so small. All right, so let me show you what it is. So actually, I'm going to take that, and of course you can always just use cardstock, but since I already had this paint out, I'm just going to do this on some white. All right, and then this green that we've been using all month as well, the green permanent. I just need the tiniest little bit. So this one you could definitely use a piece of cardstock for. But as I was creating these the first time around, this is what I did. I just stuck some paint on paper and then die cut them out from that. All right, but you do what's easiest for you. Closed. All right, so for these guys, we need to do these little doohickeys. So 1 and 2. They're so tiny, guys. So tiny. Little die cuts. I've been looking at some of the dies and such from Spellbinders, and I just can't seem to get myself into the groove of wanting to do like a really intricate layered die cut kind of situation. This is about as detailed as I will go for die cuts, I think. All right, so there's 1, there's 2, all right, and then I need to do that one more time. Should have waited just a minute to let those dry a little better. That's right. They're going to get covered by some of the white, not concerned. There we go. Happy with that. All right. Now we can assemble our feathers. And so here's the great thing. Yeah, it took us a while to do all that die cutting, right? But it's really going to take us quickly to the end of some of these projects, right? Okay, so let's get to this guy first. Set those over there. I don't think we need that. All right, so with this particular set, it's kind of funky. They kind of fit within each other. You can work them a couple different ways. Whatever works best for you, either adding it to the white piece or adding it to the piece below. But basically they do line up. So you see how this kind of starts to fit into this one here. You have to kind of puzzle piece these together. All right. So let's do I don't think it matters which one you do first and which one you do second, because they fit in different places. So using liquid adhesive is good because you'll be able to kind of shift them around a little bit if you need to. You're going to see that happen here in a second. So this die is just a little finicky. It's worth it though if you like the look, for sure. And that you can use different pieces of it and not the whole thing, which I think you'll see that in the second one. You're going to be like, oh yeah, that's really cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and line up this piece right here, the little bottom. And then I'm going to see that it starts to line up in various places. So like right here. And like right here. All right, it's not completely down, and that's fine. I just wanted to touch in a few places so that way I can adjust it when I get the next piece in place. All right, so this guy, see how he's going to fit into some of the other pieces. So that's why you want to leave it kind of loose so that way you can fit them all together. All right, so it fits like a puzzle. Like so. And then the top piece will go on top of it. And again, you'll be able to shift it as we put this top piece on, the white piece, if you need to move anything around. And I'll show you how I take care of that when we get to it. All right. So there we go. This is going to match up with this little piece right on the end. So I'm just going to shift it a little to get that to match. So this is why I'm using the liquid adhesive, because it's you can shift it a little bit. It stays soft and you can move things around as you need to in order to get them in the right place. So there we go. All right, so we've got our second layer in there, and then this is going to go right on top of everything. And you see how that then brings definition to all those little pieces. Ta-da! All right. So for this guy here, I'm going to focus on the ends and down the center. And I don't even really need to worry about the space in between. This is all going to hold it down just fine. All right. Nancy says, kind of a stained glass look. Yes, definitely a stained glass look. All right, so this is where I can make sure that I've got everything covered perfectly, because the top one matches the bottom one perfectly. So like this little piece here needs to move over just a hair. I can scooch it just a little bit. holding it down with my fingers as I go. All right, so that's basically in place. Time to pull out the big block and smush it. All right, so I've got a block on top so that way it can go ahead and dry. And while I'm waiting for that to happen, I can put together this little doohickey. Now this little centerpiece, basically I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the center there. And our little green piece is going to go right on that. So pull out your reading glasses, do what you need to get that little teeny tiny piece in place. All right, and then after that, the red piece goes. Yeah, it is pretty finicky for sure. So definitely something to take your time with. The results are really beautiful though. Lots of different things that you can do with it. You could use lots of different metallic colors, right? Or if you wanted to avoid having to put all those little center pieces or aligning the all intermediate pieces, just cut the bottom and the top and then do some kind of creative coloring in the center, like add different paints or whatever, different materials to make it actually kind of more of like a stained glass kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. So Nancy says, this is for the younger people to futz with. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. All right, so this guy's going to go right in the middle here. Now that he's put together. The second one comes together much more quickly because we're not doing all the layers. So you'll see what I mean in a second here. All right. So the nice thing about this is it fits right in the center there. And there you go. So there's our beautiful feather. It's gorgeous though, right? I mean, it's kind of worth the effort. So what you can see in here, of course, is our master sheet piece that we cut. It's a great way to use up extra little bits of your master sheets or to go ahead and do the 2-for-1 like we're going to do here. It's super nice just to add a little bit of detail and texture. I like it a lot. Right. Yes, definitely really pretty once we're done with it, right? Okay, so here's a great thing is like we're moving on to actually putting cards together. So our second card is going to use this piece here. And this is going to go right on the card base. Oh, no, it's not either. Here it is. I guess I did have 2 pieces of white pulled on. I just saw it. Okay, so this is a piece of gold foil. I'm going to pop this on the card. So this is our background piece. All right, but here's what it's going to do for us, which is so awesome. And actually, I just need to trim off an edge here real quick. That was going to drive me nuts. Okay, so here's the cool thing. We're going to get that different colored layer because of the background. So with this, glue, and then make sure you're getting glue on these little islands here. Isthmuses, peninsulas, that's what they are, peninsulas. All right, so got glue on that and watch what happens. Ta-da! We have our layer of gold and a layer of from our master sheet. So when we put this guy on top, that's going to define that whole area and it's going to look amazing. So what I'm going to do is I need to pop that down for a second so it sticks onto the metallic sheet really well before I put this down. I don't want to be struggling with that. So let me put together our second little eye here. So I'm treating these kind of like a little peacock eye, right? A little bit of an alternate color, something that stands out. Super cute this way. Again, you can do these however you want, so you don't have to make it as finicky as it could be. All right, so there's our eye. Like I said, I'll be able to fix that when we get that in place. So that's good. All right, so this guy, we're going to do just an easy peasy hot foil one here. So we can just do like a hello, right? And just pop that right on there. That's why, you know, I like doing these ahead of time. See, I do the reverse and I do the regular one. And then I just pop them in a little container like this. And then I've got them ready to go. And I don't have to worry about getting out the hot foil and doing that whole situation. I've got them all done already. So that's something that I really am enjoying about the hot foil bits, is that I can do them all up in big batches and have a whole bunch ready to go for a while. All right. So let's see. Cece says she was thinking of buying the other feathers from Ulta New, but I don't know. I'm not the younger person club. The other feathers, oh man, they have a couple of different feathers sets. I think the other ones aren't as finicky as this one. I think I'd have to go back and look at if I even have them. I do like a good feather, but I can't remember if I have that set or not. I know I have a stamp set of theirs that is feathers, and those are a lot easier than this. But it's a different look too, and you have to stamp it and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's a good thing about coming to these live streams, right? You get to see me work with these products live and in person. If it's something that you've been considering, once you see it in action, maybe you're not so crazy about it. It may look pretty, but maybe it's not for you. And that's okay. All right, so for this, I'm going to start at the bottom and then get everything aligned as I go so I don't get excess adhesive anywhere. And then if I need to move any of these little bottom pieces, I use my pokey tool just to kind of prod them into place as needed. There we go. And I would say that working with the acrylic paint is a little bit of an extra thing, because sometimes the glue doesn't like to stick to it as well to begin with. So sometimes you just have to be a little patient with that part of it. See, this one comes together much more quickly because everything is already kind of cutting in place. See, that one was a whole lot easier, wasn't it? Super easy. Let's see, Trisha says, I come up with awesome ideas. Oh, thanks, Trish. They are. Sometimes they're a little more involved than you might like. But it shows you that the possibility is there, and if you have the patience and the desire to do it, you can do it for sure. All right. I promise you that the projects for the challenge won't be such a challenge. You will enjoy them. They are going to make some beautiful results. You definitely want to stop into the Q&A today, because I'm going to be given some sneak peeks of the projects. You've already seen one because I've been using it for the advertising. But there are, of course, 3 other projects plus the bonus project. And yeah, there's lots of goodness coming your way. So Tracy wants to know, will the Q&A be available later? Yes, it will be. I'll have it available on replay. I will email you guys when it is up and available. So yet another reason to be on my mailing list if you're not already. If you can't make it to the Q&A today, get on the mailing list, sign up for the Q&A to begin with, and I will send you the replay link for sure. There we go. So see how simple that one was? And for this one, we can just go ahead and add some sequins to it. And I wanted to show you a fun thing to do. This will work. All right, so I used the I used different sequins on the sample cards. That's okay. So this one will be the satin ones. The other one has the antique sequence. They both look great. So we'll do something like that. So remember, I'm always using my hard glue. So this is the Spellbinders Glaze and Glue. I really do like it. Here's where the fun part comes in. I'm going to fill in our little eye here. There we go. So you see our little eye here. Let's fill this in to give it a little bit more excitement in the center here with the glaze and glue. So I can do this with the glaze and glue because A, it's clear, B, it's going to dry hard, right? And it's going to look amazing. So if I can find a teeny tiny one, oh, here's a couple. Perfect. So this particular gem set has super, super tiny gems in it, and they just fit in there gorgeous like that. Check that out. There you go. And I took off a sequence. There we go. So our typical trio, and then a little bit of bling up there. So perfect. So this just needs a few minutes to dry. You want to make sure that that dries nice and hard before you stick your hand in it and mess it up, right? All right, so that's one. The second one, then this one comes together super simple. And you can pop it up on foam or not. So let's do both. The original one I have is popped up. So we will do this one not popped up, and then you can kind of see the difference and whether you like it or not. And this guy's just going to go right on here like so. And so this whole big back blob in the background doesn't seem so blobby when you put something on top of it, right? All right. So there we go. Okay, so Rachel wants to know, I use the Gemini hot foil. Have I tried the Glimmer by Spellbinders, and my thoughts? No, I haven't tried the Glimmer by Spellbinders because I don't have the die cutting machine that goes with it. I have the Gemini Junior. So I recommend that if you've already got one, stick with it. If you've got the other, stick with that. That way you're using, maximizing what you have. Otherwise, you're going to have two die cutting machines, and that's just not really, that's not practical for a lot of people. I just think space-wise, it's not practical to begin with. So, yeah, I would stick with what you have. Now, if you end up liking one over the other, like say you've tried it at a friend's house or something like that, you may want to switch, at which point you sell one and then you keep the new one, right? You swap out everything. All right, so for this one, because we're kind of running out of time here, guys, I'm going to put another foil guy on here, which I think is really, really stunning. So this is the reverse. This is the leftover foil, and I foiled it on like a peacock colored cardstock that matches the turquoise paint that I've been using. So I love that you can do this with the reverse. It's so nice. What I am going to do, so I'm going to pop it up just on one side, because it's a little thicker on this side, right? So if I put a foam on this side, it's going to make it basically the right height going all the way across. You see that? And then it's not going to go around. So adding in a few foam adhesives on one side to help raise it up to the same level. And then put this adhesive on the other side. It will make it level straight across, which is super great. That's what you want. This is how you elevate your card making. You think about things like that, like, oh, it's a lot thicker on this side. What can I do? Oh, I can add some foams on the other side to help level the entire thing out, right? And that makes a huge, huge, huge difference. All right, so again, on this one, we will do the same thing with our glaze and glue. And this one doesn't necessarily need sequins either because it's got a lot of other things going on. So maybe you don't want to add sequins to, you know, it's just too much, right? So we're just going to put the glaze and glue on here, which means I left the lid off. So I need to, there we go. So Alyssa says that she's been wanting a feather dye and she thinks that my samples and Carrie Van Noy's samples have pushed her over the edge for this one. Yep. So now that you've seen me put it together, it's a lot different when you're trying to talk and do things live too versus when you're trying to like concentrate and do it on your own. So I really do like the way that this looks. And I think that if you take your time with it, you will end up with a really, really great result. Okay, so another little teeny tiny gemstone. There we go. Pop it right in the middle of the eye there. Just a gorgeous little bit of bling. See that? Look at that. Just a little cha-ching to go along with the little cha-ching of the gold. So nice. Love it. And bam, an hour is gone, guys. So there we go. Alyssa says she doesn't mind putting these kinds of things together. She just gets out the sticky dot sheets. You know what? I've had sticky dot sheets before and I get them all over my hands. So that's why I keep using the mono because I'm really good with it. And I think it really helps things stick together well. So, but to each her own, right? There we go. Gorgeous card. So we've got some differences though, right? So on this one, the size is just slightly smaller. So let's take a look at our differences here real quick. And I use different sequins, but I think they both look really great. I mean, they give you a different look, right? The sequins for sure. All right. And of course, you're going to get a different background every time because you've been using a master sheet and not everyone is going to be exactly alike, right? So different looks there and then different looks on these guys here. On the original, I popped it up on foam. So this whole piece here has foam on the back of it. And then I used the die set to create the sentiments. And then on this one, I did it flat on the card base and then used the reversed foil. All right, and it's got a little bit of a different look with the paint as well. So there you go, guys. Some real fun cards using some new products from Ulta New. It is the end of our month with acrylics, and I hope you really enjoyed it. So there we go, another week done. If you are joining me over on Zoom, I will see you there in about 25 minutes. I'll have the doors open early. Hopefully you've been getting your reminder emails. If you want to join, but you haven't, let me paste it back in here again. Nope, that's not it. Let me just type it in again real quick here, like. Q-sesh. It's challenge-Q-sesh. There you go. So if you want to join, you can still join. You can hop over there right now and get signed up for it, and it will send you the emails right away. And I will see you over on Zoom so we can talk anything and everything related to the upcoming Stamp Focus Challenge. So don't forget, if you want to join, Tuesday is your last time to sign up for it. Tuesday is also the start of the Stamp Focus Challenge, August 30th. And we're going to have a great time next month with it. So thank you so much, everybody. I will see you next week. If you're not participating in the challenge, we will be doing the challenge projects, but I know you will enjoy them just as much. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will see some of you in a few short minutes. Until then, though, happy crafting.